Ready.
We're live on Twitch.
Hello, Twitch.
Stop talking shit about
Hello,
Leo.
Twitch. I would literally never, except I will talk shit on myself. I have a very long message from Leo that I have not. I've looked at, read most of, and not responded to. It's about how much he loved Indica, and it seemed like a very sincere message, and I need to respond to it.
You
I've
left
just
him
been
on
lazy.
red?
I left Leo on red. That's a real story. That's a true story about me.
Who leaves Leo Vader on red? That's insane.
Maybe I tell you what, maybe we can have like stretch goals for my book. If enough people buy it, we'll respond to Leo live on
air
stream.
Leo gets a response. Thanks for the sub Star Killer. All right, you good if we start this off?
What were we just doing?
I was
starting.
Ben, I send this bit to our special YouTube, and then Ben makes the audio version as soon as I do the actual hi, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So we're going to start right now. Ready?
Okay. Gotcha. Yep.
Hello, gamers, and welcome to Bonus Pod, the companion podcast to the MinMax show. My name is Haley McLean. I'm the community manager of MinMax, and today I'm joined by Blake, Hester.
Oh my God. They let a young man back in the building. Beautiful studio you all have here. Wow.
Thanks,
how much
Blake.
did you all pay for this building? This is a whole skyscraper you all have now. Last time I was in the MinMax studio, it was Ben Hansen's leaky basement.
It's
now you
getting
all own
upgraded.
A city block here.
It's going to get upgraded in real life to a different location because Ben moved.
I know. I want to see his new house.
Me
Did
too.
he buy it? Do you know this? Is he like a home owner?
He's a home owner.
Wow, he was just a home renter last time I saw him.
Actually, I don't actually know that for 100% sure. I just assumed. I think he's a homeowner. Hey, listeners who are like, who's this guy? I don't know Blake Hester. Blake Hester, fellow intern at Game Informer with me, met this guy in 2016, BFFs ever since. We had our very prolific podcast for many years, Game Query, with, of course, Mr. Leo Vader and good friend AJ Moser, who's also Blake's roommate now. And Blake's also my favorite games writer of all time. I know I've said that to you before. You are. Blake be writing some good-ass words.
That's high praise, because there's at least two people that I would consider better than me.
Who?
Matt Leone. And I have to say that one because I spent my career ripping him off. And that's not a secret. I've told him. He knows. I tell him every time I rip him off. And Noah Caldwell Gervais.
There you go.
Just those two. I'm better than everyone else, though. Sorry.
That's so fair. That's good. Blake be writing. He's an amazing long-form writer. Was at Game Informer for lots of years.
Thank you.
Wrote for how many different publications? Waypoint, Rolling Stones, Polygon.
I think a better question would be how many publications that still exist that you can still read online.
Yeah, that's fair. You ever get something in Playboy? You ever do that? That feels like a you vibe.
Yeah, I did, but guess what? You can't go read it. They deleted it. It's
what?
Gone. My whole Rolling Stone archive, I believe, is also deleted. My Variety archive is deleted.
My God.
Who knows what else? It's mostly gone at this point.
Let's sue him, buddy. Do you ever have to waive your moral right? Do you remember any of that shit? We can get after them for that. Let's do it.
I don't know. I never read a single contract that I signed over the years.
You love to hear it. Lawyers love to hear it. The ideal client. Also of the awesome podcast, Something Rotten with Jacob Geller, where y'all...
That's true.
Another what?
Another contract I never read was...
Oh, yeah. You and Jacob probably have a 50-page agreement. You're allowed to not say. I was on Something Rotten talking about the first Max Payne. I still have to play Max Payne 2. Super fun episode. And now y'all are talking about Indica, which is such a good game for y'all's podcast style.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of talking about Indica. We did one episode on Indica because it's a short game. And then next episode is on Hellblade.
Oh, good.
Senua's Saga. And then we're doing an episode on the Exit 8 and Platform 8. So it's kind of like a weirdo season. It's like a season of like
Miscellaneous
short
season?
games that we just yeah, like short games we kind of wanted to just play. It just kind of coincidentally worked out that Hellblade and Indica star women who hear voices in their heads. I didn't know that going into Indica, and I was like, hey, that works. Exit 8 and Platform 8 are just games Jacob wanted to play, so we
fair.
did. But yeah, Indica, hell of a game. Oh
I
my
loved
god,
that game. I played Indica
so
and then
good.
both Hellblades all in a row, and I was feeling that way too. I'm like, lots of women
Yeah.
with troublesome thoughts.
What's your take on Hellblade 2?
Loved.
Hellblade 2.
Oh, I loved Hellblade 1. I was about to say that you said that.
Okay.
The gimmick of Hellblade, without spoiling it,
Yep.
it was so good and had me really invested. And then that just
Yeah.
kind of that wasn't present in Hellblade 2. And a lot of the something that kind of like the magic of Hellblade 1 kind of wasn't in Hellblade 2. Still was a hell of a game. In probably I know Jacob says it's like one of the best looking games ever made. It looks absolutely
sure.
insane. The
Sure.
performances are great. The combat animations are nuts. They look great. It's just it was missing like that little spark that Hellblade 1 had, and I think it was a little bit worse for it.
Dude, I hear you, and I'll go so far as to say I think that game stinks. I think it's a bad game.
Interesting take.
I was so bummed, dude. I was so bummed because I was really looking forward to it, and like I really like I respect Hellblade 1, and I think all the technical fidelity is all at a disservice to actual like mechanical being mechanically interesting. You know, like you don't even fight more than one person at a time in this game.
Yeah.
And like I just felt like the mental illness arc or mental health arc narrative arc of this game just didn't have much interesting to say or anything new to say. And so the gimmick, I was like, oh, we've already done this gimmick, and you don't have anything like to say with it this time.
It felt
It really bummed me out.
It felt so. I mean, I didn't play at the time, but I remember the discussions. I remember in particular, at least Favis was talking a lot about it. It's just like the discussions that it was creating around those kind of mental health issues was so unique for the game space. And not that they can't keep doing that again. It's not like they do it once and then they're like, hey, we'll never talk about mental health again in any of our games. It's like, no, not that. It's just, it was that in combination.
They got to add something, right?
Yeah, like it was kind of, I agree, more of the same slash. I don't know. A lot of the appeal of the first one too was the fact that she was all alone. And that was the experience, was a solitary experience. And then the second game, they just have her surrounded by other people, which also could have had its own unique, like, sort of exploration into how someone would feel with those issues also being constantly surrounded by people. But I feel like it didn't lead into that. It was more like still solitary vibes, but with people around. I don't know.
Yeah. It also was weird that every character was like, yes, I will lay down my life for Senua, the least charismatic and interesting character in recent freaking memory. They're like, I'm willing to do anything for you, Senua. And she spends every cutscene just kind of like sitting beside them quietly.
Yeah.
Just being like, yes. Hello.
I didn't like my dad.
I'm like,
okay.
She got no riz. She's got no riz. She's got no swag.
Senua has no riz. You heard it here.
Yeah.
From author Blake Hester.
Also, can I get out ahead of this?
Yeah.
Before we talk about author Blake Hester? I didn't make my bed today.
I know, but Regan's so cute on it. Oh, our viewers.
Well, I'm just like never on. Yeah, I'm just never really on cam so that people can see. I don't make my bed often because I have a dog that'll tear it up, but I just want to get out ahead of the didn't make his bed allegations. My room is pretty freaking clean, but I have a dog that will just screw the blankets up. So that's why my bed is not made, and I'm a 30-year-old man. I get it. I should make my bed, but I didn't.
It's giving.
Leave me alone.
It's giving. Troubled artist. It's giving too busy writing the written word to carry about what my bed looks like.
I didn't write a single word today. I edited about 3,000 to 4,000 of them. Actually, I wrote one email. I wrote an email today, so I wrote probably 20 words.
Nice, good for you.
That was it.
That's good.
But I edited so many of them.
Let's get back to what that work is, because I'm so excited that you are writing a book. It's like all my little prayers at nighttime have been answered. Let Blake Hester write a fucking book.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't wait.
They're giving me They're giving me an ISBN number. They're putting me in the Library of Congress.
You want to
I
tell us
hope
a
I'm
bit about
writing a
your
book.
book? Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a bit of there's a bit of a preamble to it.
Let's hear it.
Many moons ago, 2020, I began mostly out of shock that no one had like cataloged a history of Guitar Hero piece, at least that I'd found. So if you wrote one before me, my apologies. I missed it. And I set about doing it. Vice was gracious enough to accept the story and underpay me for it. And I was like, I'm gonna do the definitive version. You know, like that's kind of what I often do when I go out to like do these huge stories. Is I'm like, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they can write a story about this game after me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I will go to the ends of I will break my back. I will take that $800 pittance they gave me and turn in something worth 100 times that. So yeah, I spent, as I recall, 366 days from
gosh.
pitch to publish, interviewing I think about 30 people. From the developer at Harmonix, the publisher Red Octane. I interviewed a lady who ran sales at Best Buy at some point.
Oh my god!
I interviewed a kid who like dropped out of like middle school to be a pro guitar player. I didn't use any of the quotes, but I did interview him. It was crazy. And in that, it was one of those things where it was clear, like I was really happy with the story. You can go read it on Vice right now.
I love that one.
I would. Thank you so much. Thank you. I encourage people to go read it. I think it turned out good.
When I looked it up again today, I couldn't believe that was 2021. I was like, what? That was 3 years ago? I could have sworn it was like 6 months ago or something.
Yeah. But in writing that story, the thing that I didn't like is I felt like I was writing an incomplete story. Because like to tell the story of Guitar Hero 1 and not tell the story of say like Guitar Hero 3, you know, or
fave.
Rock Band Beatles, the whole kit and caboodle. It just felt like I was not finishing the story. So Vice was gracious enough. Excuse me.
You're so overwhelmed with emotion.
I know. Actually, I just burped. I'll be honest with you, Haley. I Vice was gracious enough. My dear editors over there, such as Emmanuel Mayberg, Rob Zachney, and maybe that was just it. Maybe it was just Jason Kobler. That was the third one. Helped get their mothership to give us free publishing rights, and I am working with a publisher to write a book on it. The publisher Thames and Hudson, and their crowdfunding vertical volume to expand that original story into to include the rest of the story, right? Like to take that original text and be like, all right, here's the rest of the story. So you don't have to jump from Guitar Hero 1 to it's over. No one makes those games anymore. So yeah, it's funding now. It's only got 10 days left. Feel like the numbers won't lie on whether or not that funding's gonna make it, but we're here. We're going for it. But that's it. I'm incredibly excited. I'm incredibly fortunate. And I hope that in 10 days, our funding will be successful and I'll be writing a book about Guitar Hero.
Oh, please go fund this thing. I want it to be funded so bad. It'll be so good.
If you go to vol.co, VOL.co, I don't know if I can post links in your all's chat, but V is in volleyball.
Oh, okay.
OL.co. You'll see it. It's right there.
Amazing. I'll put links in the bottom of the description and stuff too. We'll get that going down there. Cool. Yeah, no, I was interested to hear that it was the history of Guitar Hero piece that kind of you decided to expand upon so much, because you have tons of other long form works that I feel like also could be expounded into books. Yeah. What about Guitar Hero and like those kind of games in general made it feel like there was so much more still to talk about?
It really was like writing a book on Guitar Hero and not including Rock Band. You know what I'm saying? And like doing interviews, it felt like everyone I was talking to, Rock Band, at least on the harmonic side, right? Rock Band is what they wanted to actually talk about. You know, they're like, yeah, Guitar Hero, that was wild, but like on Rock Band, and then they were like all these stories I couldn't use. You know, like the fact that like Beatles Rock Band in general like exists is like a miracle of just like rights and getting Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr to agree to be in video games. So it was like stuff like that. I mean, it was also like I definitely at the time. I mean, I pitched this book in 2020,
Really?
before it was even published. Here's a fun fact about this: I pitched the book before I'd ever written a single word of the story, and so the very first written anything for that story was for a book pitch to send to Darren Wall to pretend that the story was being worked on. And that's still in the finished version of the story. It made it in there somewhere. I would have to look to figure out exactly where it is, but like the actual like proposal doc of like this is what the book will be was like the first thing I ever wrote for that Vice story because it did not exist at all. But yeah, I think at that time Matt Leone, who all roads lead back to him, he had recently published his Final Fantasy VII book.
I was looking at that.
Yeah, and I think was maybe working on I think he was maybe had announced his Street Fighter book at that point. And Game Query read only memory, Darren Wall, who runs that publisher, had helped us out with some charity streams. They had sent us books, so I had that contact. So I got in contact with them. It's like, I have this story. I think it could be so much more. They were interested. And the process, they got like acquired by Thames and Hudson or something, and then it took 4 years for the book to be announced. But it was really like a little bit of jealousy of Matt, and always wanted to copy my career off him, and just like, you know, like I want to tell the Rock Band story. It felt like I wasn't doing it felt like I wasn't doing history justice to not include the rest of the story.
And what's been your process with getting up and working on a project like that? Like, you obviously have a lot of stuff you collected already up to this point. Are you still doing interviews? Is it mainly just the writing phase, or what's going on there?
No, like that's part of the funding, right? For full transparency, if the book isn't funded, the book doesn't happen. Gotcha. So to be clear, if anyone in the process of this is like, sounds great, I'm going to go help out on the funding, we will only take your money upon successful completion. So if the book does not get funded, we don't take your money. Like standard Kickstarter rules, I guess. I don't know if I've ever done a Kickstarter, but I think that's how that works.
I think so.
So actually no work has happened on it in years, which is a daunting process, right? To be like, let me pick work back up and pick like professional relationships back up that like I last touched when I was 25 years old. Like that's a very daunting process, but one I'm committed to doing, obviously, but it's unlike anything I've ever done, because the last time I like actually worked on this was 2020, maybe the first month or two of 2021. But like theoretically, were the book to happen, you could imagine the work that's already been done, which is on Vice, which will be published mostly in its entirety in the book, would be about 1/3 to 1/2 of the finished story.
Okay.
And so if you imagine 30 people interviewed for that, you're looking at maybe another 30 to 50 to 60 interviews, plus that however much text I would be doing. And some of those would be like interviews with the same people. Like obviously, like a lot of harmonics people went on to Rock Band, but then it's like there's a whole other crew of people at Neversoft who took over the Guitar Hero development. So all their voices would be added to the finished book.
That's so cool. The book looks slick too. How'd you go about picking designs for the covers and stuff?
Yeah, so that was done. I was not super involved in that. Darren Wall, of course, I think helped lead that. He runs Read Only Memory, which is a very like design focused studio. And then I apologize so much if I'm mispronouncing your name, but Rehin Dalbello God, that couldn't have been correct. I'm so sorry. But she was the actual designer on that. Am I allowed to post links in the chat? I'm just gonna post her Twitter.
Try.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
No, I'm not even logged into Twitch. I'll DM it to you.
DM it to me. I can post things.
Yeah, she does incredible work, and I want to shout her out as much as possible. But she's the one who did all the designs, and I had a little bit of input in it. I mean, the thing I was really worried about was like, honestly, this kind of looking like Guitar Hero, which like Guitar Hero's rad, and like I love the schlockiness of the art, but like I didn't want to put something out that looked like, you know, like Buzz Ballad's album artwork that you would see in Walmart, you know, like that type of thing, like wannabe metal type shit. So like I remember early conversations, we were looking at actually like not even tour posters, like local show posters from like punk and hardcore bands, and like how they would like style those like hand printed things, you know, that people would hang around their town. And then like we also, I play guitar and I've played in bands basically my whole life, and so some of the slipcase that comes with the deluxe edition of the book is not perfectly, because it would be too expensive to produce, but it's a bit like modeled after the texture, the kind of like wraps in front of amp speakers. I think that's usually made out of vinyl or nylon. It kind of looks threaded almost when you think about it. That's kind of mimicked after that, just that kind of textured feel on it. And then the normal version of the book is kind of Rahane's artistic interpretation of the gems falling down the pattern that you would play like in Guitar Hero Rock Band. And then finally, we have the die cut pattern on the pages, which is meant to, one, be an interesting way to flip through the book, like almost like you can reference like certain parts of it. But there are 5 die cuts throughout the book that are meant to evoke the 5 buttons of the original Guitar Hero.
You can hold the book sideways and just go to town.
Yeah, I guess you could pretend you're playing it along with song. But like all credit goes to Darren and Rahane, and I don't know if that's how you pronounce that name. Good Lord, I'm embarrassed every time I say it. They did all the work on that. Like 4 years ago, I offered some initial ideas, and they seem to have kind of been what they ran with. But like I was blown away when I saw those finished designs.
I love the look of it. It looks so cool. The color is just
Yeah.
Go buy this book so I can own it in my house. I'm using my platform for my own desires. Do it.
Hey, I mean, I want it in my house too. Like, here's the thing. It's kind of the sum game of the whole being a writer on the internet is eventually you want to hold a physical version of your work that people like Playboy and Rolling Stone and Variety can't delete.
I was going to say that's literally how we started our discussions is like, where can we read your stuff on the internet? It's like, it's been deleted because physical media is hard to make.
What are you going to do? Burn down the Library of Congress where my book will be sitting? I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's good.
The president's office?
That'd be cool. But
you're going to storm into the Oval Office and steal the book? Yeah, right.
I mean, the Library of Congress has like basically every book, right? Like that's the whole thing, right?
I don't know, I don't know about y'all's libraries and stuff. Regan is going to town in your sheets right now, and it's very cute. she's.
You can see why I don't make my bed.
See why you don't make your bed.
Why I don't make
the unbed allegations are making sense. Oh, audio listeners,
check that out.
Blake has an adorable Chihuahua, and she's going egg mode right now in his sheets. It's very cute.
Going eggy mode.
Eggy mode. Well,
Spike 7977. Hold on, I'm gonna address something
here.
Spike 7977 says, not gonna lie, don't know if Blake's. I haven't worked on this for years. It's really selling me on it. One day you might understand the realities of producing content, and sometimes years go by without things being touched. That's the least surprising thing of this whole thing. Is it took years to happen, but I understand what you're saying. Hopefully the rest of my portfolio speaks for itself.
It will.
I get work done, Spike. Come on.
You do.
I understand.
Just go into bat now. One person in chat. The whole rest.
I'll fight everyone. Give me your money, Spike.
No, I'd love for this to get made. Do you still play a lot of Guitar Hero? Are you still like a nerd for the games in general?
No. Very occasionally. Actually, I'll tell you what. One of my favorite memories of living in Minneapolis was me, Leo, and Ben going to Brian Shea's house and playing Rock Band and just having the time of my life. And like,
Oh, nice.
no, and Alex Van Aken. Sorry, there was Alex Van Aken was also there because we had a full 5-piece band. But no, like I wish. Some of my friends in town have the Rock Band set up, and we'll go over and play it. But I don't have it at the house to like play it as much as I want. And some of it's a little hard to get your hands on these days.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It used to be like every thrift store has it, but now I feel like it's
Exactly.
spun into a different side where all of it got thrown away.
Yeah, well, that or like I think people are realizing people want them, so the prices are going up. Like I remember when I was working on the Guitar Hero story, I was like, oh, whatever, I'll just buy Guitar Hero 1 and a controller for $5. And like I didn't even entertain the notion after I went on eBay. But yeah, luckily, like friends in town and then in Minneapolis, I had access to some to get that Guitar Hero itch scratched a little bit. But also now it's in Fortnite, which is really cool.
That was my next question is like, what's your take on the epic era of Guitar Hero?
I mean, I am skeptical with anyone Epic acquires that they'll make good on that. I think Harmonix is like, I think one of the things I love about Harmonix as a studio is like, malleable's not the right word. Inventive is the best word, right?
Yeah.
Like they're an inventive studio, and they are in this framework, which is Fortnite, which to be fair, like because it's based in UE5 and like it's Epic's thing, like seems like a thing that is very acceptable to different ideas. You see all the like different game modes Epic adds to Fortnite and everything, but like I think the adding effectively Guitar Hero and Rock Band into it and Fuser into it and like making it work and seamless, and like I remember going to a preview event for it here in the city like the week before that and the Lego thing came out, and just being like really impressed. And like I don't know that I necessarily like playing Guitar Hero on a standard controller, and I know they have third-party options which like are certainly interesting. But I'm glad it has a new life in that way, and I'm glad something like Fuser, which the tech behind that like chopped and screwed tech they had in Fuser, which is now kind of in Fortnite, it's like mind-boggling. It's like a miracle of just game development that works, and that like you can give it to players and it not sound terrible. So my take on it being in Fortnite is like, I'm skeptical of anything Epic does because I don't think Epic has a track record of being cool and or chill. However, I think Harmonix has always been cool and chill, and like I'm always stoked when they're like, we did something else. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how crazy it was when those games were coming out live at the time.
Yeah.
Just even like I'm trying to think of another game series where it was so focused on like peripheral controllers and stuff like that. Like, oh, you need this, this, and this, and this to really experience everything. And people bought it. It wasn't just like, oh, the Wii Fit, and I played Wii Fit for one day, blah, and they feel kind of guilty after. It was like, I bought Rock Band, and I'm freaking rocking out with my friends every night after school. It's fun, long-term thing.
I think like something people have to realize or think about when you think about something like the impact of Guitar Hero is like, obviously video games are pop culture, but I think it's actually rare for a video game to change pop culture, which is like seems like a weird distinction.
Pokemon Go, what I mean is like things.
Exactly. That's such a good example. That's there. You can like point to these tentpole Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go. A recent one is Fortnite, and Guitar Hero is such a prime example of like the sales of albums and songs on like iTunes and whatnot, like are crazy. Like if you look up the sales data, I think like Dragon Forces Through the Fire and Flames, like the sales went up like 800 some odd %.
Yeah.
Probably because maybe that song wasn't a big deal until Guitar Hero. But like, you know, I think it's in the lead of my original story, like how like Rock Band, Guitar Hero, Aerosmith sold better than every Aerosmith album combined or something. And like it's like it's one of those things you kind of have to like really think about. It's like, oh yeah, like this had a profound impact on pop culture, which makes the way it was, you know, beat to death and like quickly disappeared, all the more stunning and like slightly appalling from just like a capitalistic standpoint. That it's like, Jesus, you can really ruin a good thing that quickly. Yeah, I think that's like one of the most fascinating things about Guitar Hero is like even 2 decades later, like I remember Vice had this mini doc with Post Malone, who's like, one of the biggest freaking artists in the world right now.
Yeah.
And he like, I don't think he would 100% credit it, but like he talked about like his early entry into making music was like, I was just really into Guitar Hero. I was like, that's crazy. Like that's beyond being like Mario's at the Japan airport. Video games are pop culture. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
That
like video games are pop culture,
someone,
but yeah, like so many musicians were created, whether big or small, bar bands or literally one of the biggest artists in the world, because Alex Rogopoulos and Iran Agozi met at MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts. You know, like video games are pop culture, but few video games change pop culture. And I think like because of that, Guitar Hero and Rock Band, like that is a history worth preserving, to blow smoke up my own ass a bit, in book form. Like that's important. That story should be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find myself in the fortunate position to hopefully tell that story.
Another really fun thing I think about sometimes is how it probably, further on that train, it probably aided in mechanical skills to then allow people to become musicians. Like,
that's interesting.
Not directly, because I'm not saying you play Guitar Hero and then you can pick up a guitar and play a guitar. It's like very different. Yeah. But you learn muscle memory things, and like half the difficulty of playing guitar is like your fingers don't do what you want them to do. And if you start ripping on Guitar Hero, your fingers will get better at flexibility and moving around fast and training your brain to move it here if you think this and blah blah blah. Like and everyone always has anecdotes with Guitar Hero and those kind of games too, which makes it more fun. Like I remember I was playing Guitar Hero and I got interested in guitar because of Guitar Hero. I didn't become no Post Malone because I'm also not musically talented, but it like was enough to make me care about learning music outside of just what they forced me to do in school. Because my parents wanted me to take piano. I was like, this is boring. They made me take clarinet for like 2 months and I was like, I want to die. Take me out. Like, you know, I just had zero interest in music, but this actually gave me an avenue to be like, maybe I could do this. I ended up not, but at least there was like a crack in a door and I tried it. And I remember my uncle, and I mean, like loves guitars, like played in a band, has like 15 guitars in his basement, super music dude. And he like came over, he's like, I'll start teaching guitar. And like the first couple lessons, he was like blown away by I didn't know where all the keys were, but mechanically I could move my fingers around a lot. And he was like, oh my
you
God.
had dexterity.
Yeah, I had dexterity. He's like, I thought we were gonna need to practice like how to move. I was like already moving to all the things. And that was completely Guitar Hero, 100%, because I had never played another string instrument before that.
I mean, like, as a big believer of the arts, a supporter of the arts.
Whoa.
I mean, I think like that shit like that is like so culturally right. But like I do think shit like that is so culturally important.
Yeah.
Like to interest not just kids, but really anyone into creating art, whether it's recreationally or professionally, whatever the case may be. You know, like a garage band or a virtuoso, like it doesn't matter. And that like speaks to the power of something like what Guitar Hero and Rock Band did. Like they are culturally significant because they created artists. Like not a lot of people get to do that. Not a lot of creators get to say that in their career. Just because I wrote stories that were good, like I don't know that I created artists. You know what I'm saying? I'd love if I did. However, like I think like that's something like you have to celebrate about something like Guitar Hero and Rock Band. It's like more art was put into the world because they existed, and like the world is better for that.
It's an art and a tool, which is like
not
all art is tools and not all tools are art, but this was both, which is rare.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. It was just it was like a game you play and also something that could teach you to do something else if you were so inclined. Like you didn't have to go become a guitar player and whatever, but it opened the door a little bit. Not a lot of stuff does that for other forms of art.
To your point though, I mean like the Rock Band drum kit is effectively just a drum kit.
True.
Like that could teach you the fundamentals of drum. Guitar Hero, playing a Guitar Hero controller will not teach you anything beyond like giving you some finger dexterity. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to learn even a power chord through it. Playing Rock
Not
Band
even when
drums,
I lift it up in
you
the
can
air and
kinda-
everything turns neon.
No, not even. It
Damn
might
it.
teach you how to look freaking sweet playing the guitar, but like that's about it. But like the drums, like it will like kind of start to teach you the fundamentals of them because it's like just kind of a drum kit.
Yeah.
Like that rocks. That's super cool. There's
True.
Rocksmith though, where you plug from Ubisoft. Remember that you plug your guitar like somehow into your freaking PlayStation,
No,
and
what's
it teaches you how to
that?
play guitar.
I've never heard of that.
Ah man, people love Rocksmith. I've never played it, but like yeah, it teaches you how to play guitar, and you like use your actual guitar as a controller. It's crazy.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know how it works.
So,
Yeah.
Groffle Waffle says, just here to say I've pledged and I'm excited for the long form book. I really hope success, so more will be done.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hold on. Let me refresh my page. There it is. I see it right there. Thank you. Thank you. It went up one.
Perfect. Man,
appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's see, like even just you touch on it for a second, and there's all this like so many discussions can happen around these types of games, and you're right, like like things don't really get. Games are weird. It's like, how come that doesn't get properly discussed upon, like in the way that you're talking about? Something about games, it's always just been like, that's cute over there. Anyways, let's write this 10 million page dissertation on Renaissance art, which like valid Renaissance art's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's weird how certain forms of art can almost get more care in capturing them in their moment in time of their popularity and stuff like that, which I'm sure Kelsey would agree.
Sure. I mean, look, you had me on a different episode of Bonus Pod. We could talk about this all day. I might go beyond the pale, but it might go beyond the pale of just this conversation. But like, I don't necessarily know if I agree all games are art, but I definitely think some games
we've
are
had
art.
this debate before. This was a whole game query episode, wasn't it? I feel like we were screaming at each other right at the end of it.
Yeah. I do, however, believe, and it's unfortunate the way history played out with it, but like I do think Guitar Hero and Rock Band, everything Neversoft and Red Octane and Harmonix and everyone else did was like extremely, and Activision, I guess, was like
not tacking on Activision
worth, that's legitimate history. That's entertainment history. That's worth knowing and like talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose it's worth crowdfunding on platforms such as Vol.co. History is worth crowdfunding, if you ask me. Oh man.
What's the best? What's the best game? What's the best Rock Band, Guitar Hero, music adjacent game? I think it's I think it's Guitar Hero 3. I love Guitar Hero 3.
No,
so much.
it's
probably because nostalgia goggles, but still.
I mean, it's probably whatever the last Rock Band was that had the Rock Band network or whatever.
Okay.
Where it was just like thousands and thousands and thousands of songs. Because it's like you have all the instruments, which is great. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Like that's so crucial. Like Guitar Hero rocks, but like Rock Band is in a whole other fucking league.
Yeah.
You know? Really, just having the drums is in a whole other league.
You're a drummer,
similar to real life.
I had guitar every time. I wanted the guitar.
No, I was terrible at the drums. I think it's just cool to have them.
Yeah.
And similar to real life, whoever was playing bass, that sucked for them.
Yeah.
But then you had like, Brian Shea. I remember going to his house. He had every song.
Nice.
And like every song that was released for Rock Band, you just go through. It basically looked like fucking Spotify. And at some point, they ran out of every big song ever. They just started throwing like small random bands into Rock Band. Do you remember Prince Daddy and the Hyena, the greatest episode of Game Query that we lost? The singer was on it. Do you know what I'm talking
about? Yeah. Was it because AJ's audio was like absolutely insane or something? Or was that something else?
I don't remember. That band is in Rock Band.
That's
now.
crazy.
So you can play them along like Audio Slave and like Metallica. And like AJ's friend Barely March is in Rock Band. It's like they just at some point they were just like put random indie bands in there. Like just make the Spotify, but you can play it on the PlayStation.
Wow.
Well, there's a Spotify app on the PlayStation. So it's got to be what I guess it's Rock Band 4? Yeah. Whatever the last one was that had the full Rock Band network. That was the coolest thing of all time. And I hope it never shuts down, but I'm sure in 10 years, whatever rights they had will start to lapse, and that'll be that.
Yeah, like that even makes me curious of what was it like to be the developers in charge of, here's this indie band, turn it into this. Like, I wonder if you could negotiate for make our extreme like really hard so it's memorable. Like, there's certain marketing things you could even do like to try to make your song blow up on Rock Band. I don't know if that ever happened like on that specific network, but I could see that becoming a viral thing.
Yeah. Now there's like Clone Hero and all that, which is like the I don't know how you would freeware is not the way to put it, but like kind of like a fan-made thing that is on
Open
the PC.
Source.
It's almost like when people I guess so, and people like upload and program their own songs, and then you have like, you know, a third-party controller that you play. It's effectively Guitar Hero, but it's not like by Harmonix.
Yeah.
And it kind of keeps that dream alive, and there's like a really cool Clone Hero community. In fact, I think some of the star Clone Heroes, the Clone Hero stars, were like tweeting about my book recently, which like was very cool and fortunate to be recognized by like pillars of that community. But it definitely lives on in its own ways. I think there's probably never going to be another way like something like this comes out and it is like as pop culturally relevant, but it's still cool to see like the way where there's just like the Rock Band community like still checking out new songs or stuff like Clone Hero, where people are like, I'll just upload music I want to play and like actually program it out myself. Like, that shit is awesome. It's cool to see that still happening. Someone said I had no idea there was a Prince Daddy Game Query connection. There technically is. Years ago, 2020, the singer Prince Daddy came on an episode of Game Query, and the audio got messed up, so we couldn't release the episode.
That happened a few times over the years. It was always the biggest bummer.
Yeah, and then the singer was like, well, I'll come back on. And then to his credit, he messaged me at one point. I was like, I want to come back on. Let's do it.
Aww.
After they got home from tour, and then immediately ghosted me afterwards. And now you know, that's that. But we did have Prince Daddy on, and didn't work out.
Take our word on it. I like how there's no actual proof of that.
It was such a good episode, too. It was such a good episode. It was so funny. That band rocks. They're so good.
That's hilarious. Anything else about your book you wanna plug? Anything else I haven't asked about that you think's worth talking about?
Yeah, just go vol.co/collection/guitar-here. No, just do vol.co. That'll make it easier on you. You know, fund it. There's a bunch of different options. You can get the book. You can get the deluxe edition, which is signed by me. You can get the Harmonix signed edition. Okay, this is crazy, actually. The Harmonix signed edition. It's $100 USD. I understand that's steep, but it's signed by me. Whatever. You can get my signature. If you show up at my house, I'll sign something for you. I'll be like, how'd you figure out where I live? But I'll still sign whatever. However, there are 4 other signatures on this thing, Haley, and I genuinely think this is the coolest shit ever. And this, like, I want it to be funded just so I can have this on my bookshelf. It's signed by Iran Agozi, Alex Rogopoulos, who are the 2 founders of Harmonix. I'm serious. These
Sick.
2 guys met in college, MIT, in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And we will never know how many musicians were created just because those 2 had a class together in MIT.
True.
Like, I firmly believe that.
That's a butterfly effect situation for real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The next time you listen to the 40s and Bentleys or whatever that Post Malone record's called, it's because 2 dudes met at MIT. It's crazy. So you got their 2 signatures right there. Ryan Lesser, who was the former art director of Harmonix, who I think is an art director at CD Projekt Red now. His style it defined anything you think about from this era of Harmonix, Guitar Hero, Rock Band. That art style all comes from Ryan Lesser. He's an incredible artist. He is also like a just Boston area poster artist, making posters for like concerts and shit. Like, it's really cool. And then Greg LaPiccolo, who not only came up with the fundamentals of gameplay that Harmonix still uses in like Fortnite, you know, the like gyms falling down, like that whole thing. He came up with the fundamentals back in the frequency and amplitude era to like make that happen. Before he was at Harmonix, he worked at Looking Glass. It was like project lead on like Thief the Dark project and made music for System Shock. He has literally had a hand in multiple games that changed the way video games are talked about and played. 4 signatures plus my shitty crummy signature. 4 video game legends for only $100. You would have to get a book, find these 4 men throughout the country. Yeah, pay for all the money of travel to get these signatures. Or you could get it for $100 right now and help fund the Guitar Hero History book by Blake Hester.
I got super special awesome version, and for my what you have to write my name, as I said, Haley the Canadian Loon McLean.
Oh wow, that okay? Yeah, I will for sure. I will.
Had to do that.
I don't know if that means that's just how it'll show up in the book, like, you know, these are the people who funded it, or if I'll get to know whose book I'm actually signing. That would be interesting to see if I can finagle that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you'll just pull mine aside and write that anyways, right? Because I'm special.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, right. That right.
Cool.
That's all I want to say. Please go buy my stinky book, please.
Go buy a stinky book. Minmax Council members, if anyone wants to ask a question, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm down to just shoot the shit with Blake for a little bit longer because I feel like you and I haven't caught up in for freaking ever, dude.
I can hang out. I ain't got much going on. I was gonna finish my book, maybe play a video game.
Finish your book, like finish writing your book?
No, finish reading my book. I have like 10 pages left. I just kind of want to finish that so it's out of the way. I've been reading Closer by Dennis Cooper. Quite good.
Oh, how is it? It's good?
Quite good. I like it.
What are you playing these days?
Kind of on a kick of his. The Silver Case by Grasshopper Manufacturers, directed by Goichi Suda, aka Suda51.
Oh, wow.
It rocks. It's so freaking good. It's like a visual novel, but like they just have such a they did. I don't know if they still do, but like they back in the day they had such a clear eye for graphic design. And so it's like you're playing a visual novel, but everything is so visually impactful. And like they really think about how to like deliver an illustration versus text versus it's so cool. It's such a cool game. I've been playing the hell out of it. I love it.
Jacob Geller's been influencing my game taste a lot lately just because I've been talking with him a lot.
I can't do that. He plays stinky games.
He plays stinky games. Well, I gotta say the last couple that he suggested are pretty good. What did you play? The Beginner's Guide.
What'd you play?
Which I think is his favorite game
that game's
ever.
Amazing.
That
game's amazing.
I cried. Yeah. That game was so insanely good. And then I checked Steam afterwards, and I only played it for 88 minutes. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It felt like I went through a religious experience almost in a way. I was thinking about what is a game more than any other game I've ever played. I was like, what is a game? Yeah. What's the point of a hallway in the real world and in a game? That wasn't even a question that they posed me. I was just like having weird thoughts like that. I felt crazy. But it was so good.
That game rocks.
Yeah. And then Outer Wilds I'm playing right now. And I really love it.
Oh, I've never played that.
Ooh,
I've never played that.
You should play it, dude. It's very good. It's like I only just recently got the gimmick because everything is designed around this gimmick that I don't want to spoil what it is. But once you realize what's going on, the freedom that gives you with that gimmick again can't spoil it, is like one of the most unique game experiences I've ever had. It's like changing the way I'm approaching problems and like how I feel. Like, you know, sometimes when you're playing a game, it kind of is like, okay, I'm dragging my feet a little bit, I just want to get to the next part. It's like alleviated all those weird draggy feet feelings, and it feels like I'm exploring in a game for the first time. Like in the way that, you know, Miyamoto wanted Zelda to feel like you were exploring in a cave. Is like that. This is doing that, and it's like making me feel like a little kid exploring. It's crazy.
I gotta play this damn thing.
It's really good. I don't think it's too long. I'm like 6 hours in, I think, but I you know, I don't really know how I finish it. I don't know how it quote unquote ends, which is still part of the fun. I'm just kind of like, what's going on? Like running around trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm.
My partner's been having a Haley McLean summer because she's playing she's like playing a shit ton of Remedy games. She's playing a shit ton of Remedy games.
Oh, that slaps though. That slaps though.
Yeah.
Has she ever played any of
So
them
she
before?
played Alan. No, I don't even know she'd ever heard of them.
Oh, awesome.
I don't even remember why she started Alan Wake 2. She was playing Resident Evil 4. And then for
Sick.
some reason she started Alan Wake 2. I don't remember why, but she loved it. And she thinks the face model for Alan Wake is so hot.
Oh yeah, me too.
She's always
I
talking
want
about
to
how
date
attractive
everyone
he is.
in that game.
Yeah,
Low-key.
but then she went and played all of Control, and she has a bugged achievement, so she can't like platinum it or whatever.
Aww.
But I'm pretty sure she also played all the DLCs of that because I got it for her on Game Pass, and I think it was just the like complete edition.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the Alan Wake expansion came out, we had it set up in my bedroom where we both bought the expansion. She bought it on PlayStation 5. I bought it on my PC, and we were sitting next to each other playing it on
Oh,
different
couple
screens.
goals. Oh my god.
And I had to like force myself to not look at the PS5 so I could play it. It was awesome.
Oh, did she play Alan
tried
Wake 1?
She tried. It was not for her. She's not a hardcore gamer like us. So sometimes like
She sounds
going
pretty
back to something a
hardcore,
little
playing all of the Remedy games.
Yeah, well, she just really struggled, I think, with the controls and the sluggishness.
It's a little clunky.
But she's also been playing like Immortality.
Oh, I need to play that.
And she's a big Switch gamer. She's played like Kentucky Route Zero and Disco Elysium and everything like that.
Oh my
God. Freeze, but
match made in
she's
heaven
really going
for
through
you.
the Remedy things.
Look at this. It's all the games you like. You just listed like every game that I associate with you.
I know. Wifey mode. I'm going wifey mode over here.
Wifey mode with Gamer GF. You're
and
crazy.
I'm not. I never thought I'd meet anyone that replaced AJ Moser in my heart, and yet here we are.
That's why he had to leave today. He's too jealous. He had to get out of the house.
Nah, he just had to go to his office. He's got a real job.
He
was
jealous, and he had to get out of the house.
Here's the thing about it. He works on the Wall Street. Did you know this?
He's Wall Street boy.
A financial guy. You might be home and hearing me saying where he works on election.
We don't need to dox AJ.
He works in like the financial district. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's a crazy. Like I wake up and I just sit at my little computer the same as I've always done. And I think about AJ. He's like, I'm going to Wall Street. I'm going to the financial district. I'm like, that's real man shit. Like that's
grown
real
up boy stuff.
That's New York ass adult shit, and it's crazy to me. I wish I could like shadow him for a day, just be like, oh my god, I'm going to work with the financial district.
Look at him, all grown up. Look at us, all grown up.
Yeah,
we met when we were little babies, 22 and 21.
Yeah,
I think you were.
I don't remember. I think I was 22.
Oh, we're little babies. Look at how much we've grown up. You're gonna write a book. I'm a freaking lawyer now because you asked me every day until I finally was one. That's a great anecdote. I know it comes up every time we're together, but I genuinely think that helped me sometimes in my troubling days.
You're welcome.
When Blake and I recorded Game Query, I was in law school for most of that period, and every time we started the podcast, he would say, "Yo, Haley, are you a fucking lawyer yet?" And I'd always have to say no.
Yep.
So I'm in like 1L, 2L, 3L. I'm, doing my articles. I'm studying for the bar. All this whole time, every time I saw Blake, usually once a month at least, he'd ask me that. And law school is stressful. I was getting stressed, and there were some days where it's like, oh my god, like how much do I just want to not have to do any of this anymore and just say I dropped out, I didn't do it, blah blah blah. And then I'd think like, but one day Blake's gonna ask me, I'm gonna go, hell yeah, brother, and it's gonna feel so freaking good. I'm not gonna lie,
it was crazy.
That thought crossed my mind.
And it was crazy when you finally could say yes.
Yeah.
It was. I think Claude Moser is scratching at my door. Yeah, it was crazy when you finally changed your answer.
I know.
It was a momentous occasion. I was so proud. I was so proud.
It was truly momentous, and now I've just been called to the bar for several years, so it's lost its hype. But same old, same old.
Are there any questions I have to answer?
Everyone's being shy. No one has a question for Blake.
That's okay. I'll go finish my book.
Yeah, he can go finish his book.
I'll go finish reading my book.
Oh no, we do have a question.
I got to learn how to write a book. So. Oh, okay.
Leafeon wants to speak. We invite Leafeon on up.
Okay.
Hey, Leafeon.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Hey, can you guys hear me all right?
Hear you perfect.
Yes.
Good. Hey. So there was an interesting conversation going on in the Discord today about soundtracks and primarily about Grant Kirkhope's work and Banjo-Kazooie.
Mm.
and it was really interesting because I don't have any real nostalgia for Banjo-Kazooie. I didn't get into him until I didn't get into the series until I was about, I don't know, like 17, 18 when I was in high school. I bought a N64 at like a retro game store with Banjo-Kazooie and Ocarina of Time.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, that was a good time. And I had like a little projector set up at home, so that was a vibe. But I loved those soundtracks so much. I love the entire vibes of Banjo-Kazooie and kind of those rare games with a lot of silliness and stuff. And when we were talking about it, just more and more people came out of the woodwork in that channel saying that they really did not like Banjo-Kazooie, and the vibes of Banjo-Kazooie in that soundtrack. And it just kind of got me, thinking a lot, culture shock about, I don't know, silliness, um,
Mm.
and decline in silliness in video games.
Hmm.
I feel like that's always been a thing for a long time. Uh, going with hyper realism with Call of Duty or whatever since mid 2000s, and um, games just going away from silliness. But I feel like Fortnite has kind of brought that back. Um, and all the silliness is either reserved to Nintendo games or indie games. You
Yeah.
know, um, and I feel like I don't know. I kind of want your guys' opinions on I don't know any really good silly games you've played recently outside of Nintendo or indie games.
That's interesting. Yesterday I was thinking about I mean, I guess I host Something Rotten, which is a podcast based around shit being gnarly. I was thinking about how like I never watch a happy movie or read a happy book. I'm always just kind of
Mm,
like in the muck. And yet, however, I do play goofy games. I left to my own devices, I don't think I would play many rotten games. Um, and a lot of my favorite games are things like Tony Hawk's Underground and Bayonetta, which are goofy. Um, I do think
Resident
about this.
Evil,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. That's depending on the entry for sure.
right?
Um, Resident Evil 7, hard to call goofy, but I
I
guess
hard to call it has its camp moments, but I definitely wouldn't
yeah,
call it
Yeah.
yeah.
goofy.
Camp's
Yeah.
a good word for Resident Evil. It's not so much silly as campy, which they're similar,
I
but they're
mean,
also very, very different.
in terms of like recent goofy games I've played, not many because I mainly play games for Something Rotten.
See, honestly, I
Um,
feel like
I mean,
there's little slivers of silliness in some games, like Alan Wake 2. It has
for sure, for sure,
like
for sure.
Herald of Darkness was one of the silliest things I've seen, and that's
Yeah,
the thing that sticks out about that game that's going to be the zeitgeist for the next 10 years, Like
yeah,
that'll be what we talk about when we talk about Alan Wake 2, and I think to your
yeah.
point, Leafeon, that's why
Yeah.
we should have more stuff like that. I mean, I'm playing Final Fantasy 7 now, and like
Yes.
Roche is so silly, and like I know his name and
He's
I
so
remember
Yeah.
who
silly.
he
Yeah.
is because he's silly. Like I want more stuff like that. Also, like even Yakuza Infinite Wealth, really silly,
Oh
Mm-hmm.
stands out
yeah,
Yep.
so
yeah,
much
yeah.
amongst the gray of other very like games that take themselves so seriously. Like just be silly and I'll remember your game way
One
more.
one that stuck out to me was Neon White from a couple years ago.
Mm.
Goofy
Mm.
ass game. Goofy ass game. Not necessarily mechanically, but like that story is goofy as all hell because that's so cringe. So that one. Oh wait, it wasn't supposed to be an indie game, right?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
mainline.
I mean, it doesn't
Oh
have to be
well,
an indie game, but no, it's still a good, you know,
tech
because when I think
technically,
of uh,
technically had a
yeah.
publisher, so it's not an independent game if you ask me.
Oh,
Technically
true.
had a publisher.
Yeah. But when I think of like, I don't know, recent silly games, my mind goes to Dave the Diver, not an indie game. Uh, but
Yeah,
like kind of an indie game vibe, right? And then I
yeah,
don't know, Pizza Tower, and
yeah,
like a lot of those indie games that even chained together.
yeah.
A lot of indie games just kind of go for the weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Like a Dragon is absolutely a great answer for that, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you know,
Yeah.
that game has a lot of good goofy stuff, even though it's grounded in a little bit of edginess and seriousness. That story, it's still
The
Nomura.
brevity. The
Like it's
brevity is very noticeable, and
yes,
they let it do that,
Did
which
y'all
is
play?
nice.
Did y'all play that what was that recent Ratchet and Clank game? Rift Apart.
I
Rift
played that,
Apart.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was a goofy game. That was
It's
a
pretty
goofy
silly.
game.
Rift
Is that a
Apart.
yeah, is that a play on Rift
Nice.
Apart?
Absolutely.
Is that supposed to be?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that game. That's good stuff. That was goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Astrobot too. I guess that's
Oh,
another one
yeah.
that's gotten my brain into thinking about silly games too. Yeah, I've totally forgot about that.
Got it. I love Astrobot so much.
Me
That game
too.
Yeah,
rocks.
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
PlayStation
yeah, I
needs a game
mean,
like that.
PlayStation really does need a lot more silly games. Xbox, I feel like tried to go in, I guess, more of that direction with getting Double Fine and having Psychonauts 2 under their belt. Because I definitely always thought of Xbox as the serious platform, between Halo and Gears of War and all the other PC games that they had before. It
Mhm.
didn't feel like they were ever geared towards, not even geared towards kids, but just didn't have that, yeah, brevity or silliness that I feel like I want in video games now.
That's always been
As I
my
get older, I want
subconscious.
more. Yeah.
I view Xbox the same way, even subconsciously sometimes. It's just like, that's the Gears of War machine. And over here is this silly machine. I've told
Yeah.
myself that's not true. There's tons of silly, you know what I mean? But that's always been
Right,
something that's
yeah.
been in the back of my
But
mind.
then they put out something like Hellblade 2, just a joyless fucking experience. Jesus Christ. Just a slog.
It's so funny. I still haven't gotten to play Hellblade 2 yet because I don't own an Xbox and my PC can't run it well.
Yeah.
But I did a project in college about the first Hellblade game. It was for a serious games class.
Mhm.
So I thought, oh, what perfect choice for a serious game, Hellblade, where it's self-proclaimed by the developers to not be fun.
Has a disclaimer at the start,
yeah.
like for all the mental health discussions it's about to delve into.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like, also I was talking to someone recently about the Superman movie that's coming out with James Gunn. And how it feels like there hasn't been a Superman movie in 20 years because all the Superman stuff that's come out in the last 20 years is all dark and depressing. And I feel like I don't know, times like this that's going on, we need it's cheesy and it's corny and it's campy, but we need signs of hope and people to feel better and parts of media to help us escape. And I think that was also a huge reason why the MCU did so well, or at least for the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that, Blake, who
Yeah.
only plays things that are sad and rotten?
Yep.
He said no comment.
Yeah, and then, I didn't see any of the MCU movies, so I'm gonna set this one out.
Right. Yeah.
No, thanks, Lee.
But I mean,
Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I did see Ant-Man 2: Quantumania.
Oh, that movie was terrible. So sorry.
I don't know. I thought it was perfectly fine. I don't know. I don't know. It was all right to me.
Yeah, I did not like that movie. That was like one of those movies where I was very close to even just walking out, and I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll just just stay here.
I didn't know any different. I just thought that's what those were like. I was like, all right.
That's like scraping the bottom of the barrel. I know you don't like the Marvel and MCU stuff, but there is some good, rare quality
I don't doubt it.
stuff that comes out of it. Yeah, I mean the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. James Gunn also
Yeah.
tying into
Very
the
silly.
Superman movie that's coming out. Super silly. Yeah. And but still with a lot of heart and still, it's serious to a point.
You know, a goofy ass superhero movie I did like was that Birds of Prey movie. I really
Oh,
liked
I
it.
love that movie.
I think that movie rocks. Yeah, and then we never got a sequel, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was a bummer. I did also really like that movie. I always forget Ewan McGregor's in that too. It's just like, oh yeah, he's the main villain. He plays Black Mask, which is
Yeah.
nutty. Yeah. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Leafeon. Good question. I do think Infinite or Like a Dragon is like the one that stands out in my brain though for purposefully being silly. Like, okay, time to be silly. Like that's the underlying tone of this entire experience, not just one-off character or something else.
Definitely feels more overtly silly than like the other RGG games, which were very silly, but like you could choose to not engage with that stuff, you know? Like
The
I would
main
like
story was
mainline
pretty like
yeah. They were soap operas basically back in the
I
day.
still
Like
need to
Yakuza
play.
0 is
I
just
was just gonna
soap
say,
opera.
I know you're gonna say Yakuza 0. I still need to play
It's
Yakuza
the best
0.
game of all time.
Jacob's playing it right now, and I copy everything he does apparently. So now I need to also play it.
It's the best game of all time.
Real
So,
best game of all
what do you
time.
want? Hold on, wait. Nextlander rated with the party of 301. Hello, folks. We're coming to you live. I'm writing a book. You can fund it at vol.co.
I'll put the link. Calm down. I'll put the link. Stop.
It's about
sweating.
Guitar Hero and Rock Band. I've interviewed over 30 people. I'm going to interview like 30 more. It's going to be the best book you've ever read. If you haven't read many books, please, all of you all go fund it. There's a $100 version. Now, you might think that's expensive. However, it's signed by 4 of the original developers, Alex Rogopoulos and Arana Gozzi, who founded Harmonix. Unbelievable. Legends. Ryan Lesser, who's the former art director. Greg LaPiccolo, who worked at Looking Glass Studios on Thief the Dark Project and System Shock. There's also cheaper versions if you don't want to spend $100 on it. I'm also going to sign a bunch of these books. Anyway, thanks for showing up. Shouts out to Nextlander.
Shouts out Nextlander.
Had to do a quick pitch. There was a lot of people here.
Good elevator pitch, bro.
Click that link.
I think you've got that down to a science.
The chat.
Links in the chat.
Links in the chat.
Future
we're
people
funding it
listening,
on Vol.
Links in the description.
Yeah. We're funding it on Volume. It's a crowdfunding thing. You know, if you like Nextlander, you like MinMax, you know what crowdfunding is. Come on now. We're all on the same page. Soon we'll literally be on the same page when we're reading my book together.
Wow. He knows what he's doing, you guys. He knows how to sell a GD book.
Spike 7977 is right. I never stopped working on it. I've been tirelessly. I've been pouring over this thing for years.
See, that's what you should. That's how you should phrase it. Yeah, this whole time.
I know. I should.
Been slaving away on it.
You're right. I should start lying more about my life.
We can just scrap this whole episode, start from scratch, and you can just say that at the top of the show. What do you think?
Well, I feel like now that 150 people are rushed in, maybe we should start over. You know, like I feel like I missed. Nextlander sent 300 new purchasers here, and they were all going to buy it.
They're people,
like $3,000.
They're people. They're not just a number.
They're dollar signs. They're dollar signs.
That's fair enough.
Anyway, yeah. What's up, folks? Thanks for rating. I am writing a book, and I'm here promoting it.
Yes, Blake is on Bonus Pod, and I was so excited. I literally messaged Blake the second I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, please come on Bonus Pod. And then you didn't answer me, and then texted me asking if you could be on Bonus Pod. And I was like, homie, check your DMs. I already asked you to be on the show.
That's true.
And that was pretty funny.
What happened is I don't have my Discord notifications on. And so I didn't actually see it. And then I texted you because I was looking for free promotion, and I felt really embarrassed texting you. And then I realized you had already messaged me.
I already wanted you.
Need to be embarrassed at all.
You did not need to be embarrassed.
And then I delayed it 2 weeks in a row. The day before, 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. On Sunday, 2 weeks in a row, I said, can't make it. Sorry. I know I said I could make it, but I can't make it.
And you know what? It made me want you. It made me want this interview more than anything I ever wanted in my whole damn life. Because every Sunday I go, I don't have to plan anything. I'm talking with my friend Blake tomorrow. Hey, yo, homie, can't make it. I go, that's all right. I'll switch it up. And then the next week rolls around, talking to my buddy Blake. Can't wait. Hey, you're gonna hate me. All in caps. You're gonna hate me. And I said,
I don't know what you want.
Listen, I was about to say, like, if he does it a third time, he's going to become the new host of my show. I'm just going to give you the show because I'm realizing how much I need this goddamn interview. You're playing hardball.
What can I say?
It.
What can I say, folks? I'm unreliable, except when it comes to books. I will write thanks to the crowdfunding platform Volume. That's vol.co. V is in volleyball. You can fund the oral history of Guitar Hero Rock Band, the music game Boom, now on Volume, a subsidiary of Thames and Hudson, purveyors of fine books for like past 30 years.
Oh, the books,
bookshelf,
they're
folks?
so
You probably got
pretty.
some Thames and Hudson books.
I was looking at
I got one
today.
I got one right here sitting beside me.
What is it?
Hold on. Project Urbex by my friend Ikumi I don't know if we're really friends. I've just interviewed her a couple times. Ikumi Nakamura.
Cool.
Beautiful book. Also funded on Volume.
Sick.
So there you go. And then the other day I bought a Nobuyoshi Araki photo book that Thames and Hudson had published like 20 years ago. I was like, whoa,
cool.
There you go.
I'm super excited for Jacob's book too. That's gonna be sick once that gets finished up.
That's Lost in Cult, baby. That's the mothership.
Yes.
That's where I work. Yeah.
That's the
I am
mothership.
editing that. I am editing that book, and I am tired.
Don't you have a piece in it too?
It's like one of. I do. I haven't written it, even though it's 8 days past due. That is like. I'm not kidding. It's one of the most intense projects of my entire career, but like in a good way.
I can't wait.
But it's been really intense. Jacob and me, I've never done this before. Jacob and me sat on a call together last week, editing together down to the italics of certain words.
Oh, nitty gritty.
Like it was crazy. Yeah. So that book's gonna rock. And if anyone finds a fucking typo in it, keep it to your damn self. I don't care.
Just
I'll
say
make sure to
what's part of
DM you
it.
personally.
People have done that before, and I've considered ending friendships when I'll like publish something that took me a year to do, and they'll publish it and be like, "Oh, there's a typo right here." I'll be like, "Literally,
Shut up."
literally shut up." So if there's a typo in Jacob's book, I don't care. I don't care.
Jacob listening to
You don't know how many
later.
typos I found.
He's like, what the hell?
I found a lot.
Amazing.
Anyway.
Well, thank you, Blake, for coming on. Thank you for finally coming.
you.
The third time's the charm.
Thank you.
And everyone
Thank you.
listening.
Vol.co, VOL.co.
I was about to do the plug for you, King, and you beat me to it for the millionth time. Please go support Blake's book. I know I'm biased because Blake's my friend and I love him and he's a lovely dude and just so nice. He's good at writing. If you made a book, literally coffee table, top of the pile. You know how you always have like 10 in a row? Blake's would be sitting on top. I would love if his book got more support. So please go to the link in the description or the link in chat. Check out Blake's book, see if you're interested, and support the dude.
Please.
And thank
Support
you.
me.
Support him. And thank you so much
Your
for
money.
listening to Yes?
Your money goes directly to me spending it on things.
His cute
And
dog,
that's-
Regan.
That's something we can all get behind, is me spending your money
Money.
on things.
And even if you don't
Money.
read, buy the book because he
There'll
deserves
be
it.
pictures in it. There'll be pictures in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
there
really
you go.
pretty. Really pretty looking.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's like pictures that we found on Flickr that people are like, you can just use these pictures for commercial purposes. And we're like, holy shit. We just
Creative
filmed the book
Commons,
with them.
baby.
So shouts out to
Nice.
all of those random people that don't know they're gonna be in a book, I guess. It's awesome.
Shout out.
It's like random like old pictures from like 20 years ago, like people's like college dorm parties playing Guitar Hero, and we're like, thank you for taking this.
You don't have to
Ours
stage
now.
a fake photo shoot pretending to
Yeah,
play it
yeah.
anymore.
Thank you for the free photo. I'm going to make money off it. That's what we said every time we did it, actually.
You can hit them with
Yeah.
that little courtesy of though, right?
Yeah, it's actually like literally on the funding page. If you scroll to the very bottom under the author bio are the names of all the people we used photos from.
Nice.
So there you go.
Shout
Yep.
outs.
And I think maybe Volume did email, like try to get in contact with everyone and be like, hey, we're using these photos.
Right of attribution, baby. He's on it.
Yeah.
He knows
But we're
what's
not
up.
giving them money. We're not giving them money.
The right of attribution.
No,
It's
no money.
just the name.
I get the money.
Who doesn't want to give this guy money? Go to go to look at the description.
Give me your money. Pay me.
Oh, I miss you, Blake. We need
Pay
to talk
me.
more. We need to talk more. I want to talk to you about Alan
We
Wake
should
2.
start. Oh yeah, we should. We should. You know what? Let's do. I'm gonna say we're doing this now so that we have to do it, and I don't
Okay.
care what Jacob thinks. We should just do a Haley and Blake bonus something rotten. Even though we've already done bonus episode of Alan Wake, like what's Jacob gonna do? I'll just upload it. I have the login. I'll just.
It won't
upload
break
it.
your
So
big agreement
we'll
with
plan to
him.
do that.
Your something rotten agreement.
No, believe it or not, it won't. And if he's mad, I'll put typos in his book. So that a risk he's willing to take. So we'll get that going here in the next couple weeks.
Yay! Let's do it. I would love that.
Fun.
I would love it. Thanks, Blake.
Cool.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
on, buddy. And thanks everybody for listening. Have a great rest of your week. Bye. And people on Twitch, that was a bye so that Ben can edit it better later. Let's see who's live right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the Guitar Hero book, by the way.
Yippee!
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I played, a ton of it when I was younger, and my sisters are 4 and 8 years older than me. So my older sister had played it a ton in high school with her friends, and then I was playing it in elementary school with my friends. And then, it just kind of continued on, and then I was playing it with high school kids, as a little kid. And it was just such a cross-generational thing. It was so great. I miss those times.
Me too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Kyle Bossman is live, so I'm sending everybody on Twitch over there. Bye, everybody on Twitch.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Haley.
And I